Stop these wars before they happen.
Synchronicity threshold crossed at 0100 hours. General, some bad business going down.
Break it into components, Hack.
Epicenter Premier 1. Millions from Swiss bank accounts are flooding the region. And 2, an unknown military force pops up.
You've linked the money to those troops?
Could I prove it in court? No. Do I know it's a link? Yes.
Keep going.
They also pumping tons of funky ex-Soviet hardware into a terrorist training camp. And finally, we got a signal from our missing pilot, Nick Arnold.
I buy it. We've got a crisis. Andrea.
The obvious candidate is Yuri Vatsisnov, former head of the KGB and the real shadow man behind this conspiracy. We're running worst-case projections, but as always, our main objective is to stop this war before it happens.
StrikeNet will download additional intel as needed.
Sorry to interrupt. Now I don't make the news, I just report it. We got a problem.
Which is?
A mothballed Soviet fleet is making for the Black Sea.
It's Grand Theft aircraft carrier, and Vladimir Ceausescu will be behind it.
Shadow Man implicated.
Yeah, it looks like it. Now I followed the missing rubles. He's buying mercenary forces and hiring Yahoo generals. Vlad pops a nuke, and Soviet hardliners are swept back in to restore order.
So with the Russian army demoralized and the West too timid to wade in, Shadow Man runs the show. Hey, what assets do you show in that area?
Just one, a dock worker named Ahmad. Now he's ex-SAS, but his cover's ethnic Russian.
Commander, stop those ships before we hit the Black Sea. Fail, and we go strategic.
Iraqi forces are invading southern Russia, and it looks like they're converging. I just don't know where. Uh-oh, yes I do. An ex-Soviet chemical weapons plant.
Good. We've been hoping for another crack at General Savak.
No doubt he will use those weapons, and Shadow Man will be sure Moscow gets full credit.
Commander, you'll have allies all around that mountain fortress. But if it falls, there'll be nothing but sand between that madman and chemical weapons. And remember, if you do not think, you will not win.
Jack, this is Nick Arnold. I'm being held in some old Soviet sanitarium. Get me out of here quick before the Shadow Man gets back to me.
Got him. He's in the heart of Transylvania.
Isn't that a radiation zone?
Yeah, this place is hot. Touch those radioactive punches, and you'll never need a nightlight.
Sanitarium is a polite term for prison where Mad Dr. Ukrainian keeps people he needs.
Commander, liberate Nick and the patients in that hospital, especially Comrade Ivan Urelia.
Yeah, Ivan is ex-Soviet air cav, and he's uniquely qualified.
Ivan irradiated himself while dumping sand on Chernobyl, saving millions of lives.
It's simple. Ivan defects and snags the core. You dump it in a pit, and we quirk it with cruise missiles.
Sounds easy, but button up. This one's a monster. This creature is Villa. Obviously, reports of her death were unfounded.
Shadow Man was just distracting us until his pet arrived.
This third war of liberation throws two puppets together, dragging both nations into chaos.
With those UN peacekeepers caught in the middle.
If Villa seizes the reactor, her rockets will destroy most of Europe.
Her showing up is already making Ukrainians hitting Scud missiles twitch. Watch your butt.
Mop up this mess, Commander, and head to Moscow. Our worst fears are coming true.
I ditched my chopper, so get up here and extract me from this fleabag hotel. Minutes matter. They've diverted the Mayday parade and tanks are rolling through the streets. A major coup unfolds as we speak. Conspirators include the Russian mob, hardline military, and ex-KGB. We're going to evacuate the Russian cabinet from Tolstoy House before they fall victim to the coup. If you do not succeed in this, nothing we've done so far matters.
This is the probable location of Shadow Man's key offices. Brief them once you've sanitized the site. Don't look back, Commander.
Shadow Man, go back. Release the vulture. The enemy is vulnerable.
Checkmate. 3 of those. Mr. Nick just crossed into the valley of death.
I thought Shadow Man was dead.
And I thought StrikeNet was impenetrable.
And he's got Nick striked out.
Well, jam the signal.
You never find Nick's body.
You know the protocols.
Look like our boy Ahmad is delivering the groceries. We pinpointed Vlad on the flagship Kara.
Strike gets one shot of him. The 6th Fleet gets the second one. We don't want war, Commander. Let's get it right the first time.
This is as bad as my first one. April 1962. Special Forces assigned to the CIA. We landed at the Bay of Pigs. Our mission was to overthrow Castro. Fighting was fierce. We knew the Air Force was coming. Problem was they never did. We were all killed or captured. My survival was an embarrassment to the politicians. Luckily, somebody I didn't know
brought me home. That was a security job.
He doesn't believe in placing war powers into the hands of politicians. Neither do I.
The end of my enemy, I thank you, Commander. You proved the theory of what information society does to industrial one. Many times invaders come through these mountains and raid, but this time we see truth. Knowledge is power.
It's weird. In the old days, they could actually see and touch the people when they killed them. Nowadays, war's all remote control. It's like playing a game. I mean, sometimes I even expect for the bad guys to get up even after they shot. But they never do.
The old folk tells there's only one sure way to kill a creature who would not die. You have found it, Commander. All the dead in the next world are about to rejoice.
Bad news. Yeltsin isn't here. The cabinet men said he's trapped in the Kromler Bell Tower, surrounded by 2 forces. Pull him out! Yeltsin airborne. Mission accomplished. We got new orders. Nail the pawns and drag Shadow Man into the light.
The security czar wants this one dark. 1 chopper, 2 pilots.
Sounds like we have 0 chance of asset return.
Skip the euphemisms, Andrea. Let's use the old term. Suicide mission.
You think the commander will do it?
Of course. The bigger the risk, the more enthusiastic he is.
A freak forest fire has swept across a wide section of Crimea early this morning. The flames spread quickly to a local airport and even engulfed a resort villa. Eyewitnesses report seeing pillars of smoke from miles away. Though details are not clear at this time, it appears this disaster was caused by an abandoned campfire. In a resounding affirmation of the New World peace process, today pacifists symbolically scuttled the Soviet mothball fleet, located in a small inlet near the Black Sea. The leader of Pax Eternus, or Peace Forever, said in a message to this network that their gesture was one of many to be carried out in celebration of the end of the Cold War. The controversial Iraqi strongman Sadisa Savak is believed dead as a result of a freak automobile accident today. His devoted followers have jammed roads and lit huge funeral pyres to mourn his passing. Most of Transylvania is being hastily evacuated today as a severe case of cow fever spreads throughout this rural community. The deadly disease is forcing the indefinite quarantine of hundreds of square miles. Things are going crazy around here. Move it. There was a minor disruption during Russia's annual May Day parade today as a small earthquake rumbled through the heart of Moscow. No Russian officials were hurt, although some damage was inflicted to the outer walls of the Kremlin. A few buildings and a television tower were destroyed by gas fires. Meanwhile, at the Moscow Zoo, the Russian bears seemed particularly upset by today's unsettling events.
Mr. Yeltsin, I'm not here to debate with you. I'm here to explain how things will work. If you don't want to play ball, I'm sure that the vice chairman will. We've had to deal with this very unpleasant situation before. Trotsky didn't understand, but Lenin did. And what is your answer? I understand.
A defective heating system is blamed for the destruction of an exclusive Crimean health resort. This scenic region of the ex-Soviet Union was engulfed in a massive explosion, and flames have been reported from miles away. It is feared that many vacationing dignitaries of the former superpower were killed in this blast. Analysts predict a power vacuum and civil unrest throughout Russia. Regional leaders expressed concern today over the sudden activation of a mothballed Soviet fleet stationed near the Black Sea. Dozens of warships are steaming into the Mediterranean. The Pentagon will neither confirm nor deny reports that they have just issued a stand-down ultimatum to this naval force. Officials express grave concern over a communications blackout in Central Europe. Unconfirmed reports of a nuclear missile strike on an unidentified Mediterranean city are being frantically investigated. We are closely monitoring this emergency and will bring you a full report as soon as the facts emerge. In what many view as an escalation of tensions around the Caspian Sea, Iraqi strongman Sadisa Savak has issued a new ultimatum. He is calling for holy war within the breakaway republics and threatens the use of sacred weapons of mass terror. Kremlin watchers also report what appears to be a massive shakeup in Russian leadership. Some suggest this may signal the return of hardliners to power for the first time since the collapse of the Soviet Union. Breakaway military factions launched raids today into Transylvania. Fighting was intense throughout the region as... Excuse me. We go now to Transylvania, where the leak of a local reactor is turning into a much larger crisis. Today in the radioactive zone around Transylvania, UN guards continued their patrols. This assignment is so dangerous that all traffic to the area has been diverted. Experts in radioactive half-life predict that this lost legion of troops will remain stationed here well into the next decade.
The crisis here in Russia worsens by the minute. Outside my window you can hear machine guns, and fires rage out of control throughout Moscow. This will be my last broadcast. This is Andrea Gray, signing off.
It was just a simple mission. Strack's covert effort is over. I just hope the world survives what comes next. This is Andrea Gray signing off.
This is Ahmad sending. This is an update. I still elude their donkey clutches. This rust bucket is hidden in a dock somewhere behind metal doors. When ship leaves, I will send you a visual signal to show you my location.
Hack, can you pinpoint him?
Sorry, General, but they put up so much ECM garbage that I couldn't find Russia on the map right now.
A lot of random events seem to be adding up. The black market's buzzing, and somebody's running the Blue Plate Special on weapons. Troops are on the move everywhere. Our operatives in the region have been methodically compromised. I've got a serious digital vibe that a well-orchestrated conspiracy is being played.
We have monitored repeated use of the phrase Shadow Man to describe the hardliner leading this Eastern European conspiracy. We suspect it is a Russian named Yuri Vatsisnov. If it is, he has a human rights code that would appall Dracula. We are crossing into a very unstable political environment. Proceed as if you are walking around in a powder keg with a lit cigar. Your slightest misstep could not only unravel the entire peace process, but ignite regional or even a global war.
Commander, forward arm and refuel points are ready and waiting. Utilize our resources as necessary.
I go on air with this in 1 hour, and I don't want to look like a liar, so keep the scene clean. Let me tell you how serious this is. If Vlad pulls this off, he's got the nuclear tools to topple the Russian government, start a regional war, and push it all the way to global. In short, if he keeps those ships, he'll be talking terms and we'll be taking dictation. Vlad Ceausescu is a bloodthirsty glutton who feasts on the carnage of ethnic strife. He lives as much in the 15th century as the present, and wants to use weapons of Armageddon to fight his petty wars. Do not underestimate him. He has access to first-rate intel and acres of ex-Soviet equipment. Thus far, he has been known to use nerve gas, anthrax, abduction, and even worse on those who disagree. If there's an atrocity this guy hasn't committed, it doesn't have a name. If you're shot down in his territory, save the last bullet for yourself.
The ship larvae have turned into moths and they're migrating.
If they make it to the Black Sea, we have World Wars 3, 4, and 5.
Operationally, it's very simple, Commander. Kill them before they reach the happy hunting ground. We're slamming together an operation. Supplies are flying in, but make no mistake, Commander. We all live or die based upon your actions.
Savak is a bull in a china shop. If he gets weapons of mass terror, every tin pot dictator and prancing peacock is going to invade their neighbor, thus aiding and abetting the Shadow Man. Experts are divided as to if Savak is a true religious fanatic or whether he creates visions to serve his political ends, as did the madman you might remember from an earlier strike campaign. Whether he is a religious zealot or cynical manipulator, no one doubts he is willing to fight to the last drop of everybody's blood but his own.
Militarily, that's vital. Savak is a coward. He'll be nowhere near the line of battle. He hides among his elite democratic guards until he can ride in triumph when victory is assured. The many films we see of him acting brave in battle are, in fact, stage photo shoots. We are grossly outnumbered, outgunned, and outflanked, but we have two things going for us: the terrain and the locals. The battlefield is jagged mountains ripped with deep gorges and valleys. Rock slides will slow the enemy advance. And the locals are as rugged as the mountains they live in. They are defending their homeland and will fight to the death. If you master the terrain and our allies, we just might have a chance. You know the tenets of air-land battle. Initiative, depth, agility, and synchronization. They've got the initiative and depth. We've got the agility. Synchronization is what you can create with Ahmad's relatives.
You neglect one fact, Earl. I have access to StrikeNet, and with it, I shall strike you.
He's not kidding. He's downloading the coordinates of all key battlefield locations to his rocket artillery.
He might have access to the net, but he doesn't have access to your mind, Commander. Think, and you will win. This looks like an easy one. Just avoid being fried and you're home free, at least so it seems. If the Shadow Man's behind it, expect trouble. Big time.
Villa will continue to be a threat to world order as long as she remains alive. If she and Ukrainian engage each other, it will escalate into a major ethnic upheaval.
Simply deny victory to both Villa and Ukrainian, Commander. Encourage maximum attrition by equalizing their forces. The only good enemy in this battle is the dead one.
Mad Doctor Ukrainian purchases thugs by selling uranium to the highest bidder, and then turned the region into a playpen for every renegade, desperado, and loser in the ex-empire.
We also know that a lot of modern equipment has come into this area and none is left. Expect to unearth it in the worst place at the worst time.
Villa's yet another nightmare from a region of nightmares. A psycho character who calls herself the Impaler and has managed to convince locals that she can't be killed. Don't feel bad about it if you dispel the rumor.
Hey, if you can't toast her, at least cop her phone number, Commander.
Forget it, Hack. She's chewed up and spit out hundreds of men. You wouldn't even be a dinner mint. Maybe you should call her the Black Widow. If there's a hell on Earth, this is it. Transylvania's been the hot potato in so many power struggles that there's nothing left worth fighting for. Funny thing is, it doesn't seem to stop people from wanting it, especially Mad Doctor Ukrainian.
Don't strain yourself trying to spare the local armed forces. Ukrainians' thugs are worthy candidates for collateral damage. They imprisoned Ivan and his compatriots and are probably holding Nick for the Shadow Man.
If it gets any messier, I won't be able to sanitize us in the eyes of the world. For that reason, I advise a thorough cleansing of the hot zone. Dead armies tell no tales. And God knows, these guys got it coming.
I'm not a political man. That's Andrea's beat. But this is clearly worst-case scenario time.
Shadow Man has merged the nightmare power of the Russian mafia, the military power of the KGB, and the political power of the hardliners to crush the democratic movement.
If he succeeds, he'll throw the world into a new dark age. Kaponov's mobsters have looted southern Moscow and are trucking the riches to their monastery fortress under the cover of the coup. Stop them! If the Shadow Man gets control of all the wealth in Moscow, hearts and minds will follow. It is our belief that locals will mistake your Apache for a Russian havoc. Capture is not an option. If you go down for the count, we hit the destruct button. We can't afford to leave any trace of our involvement. We need plausible deniability. Commander, avoid making the mistake I once made, underestimating Andrea Gray. She's not what she appears to be. She's a trained operative. News is just her cover. I don't even know who she really is, but I do know she's been active for several years. Intelligence lore has it her charms prevented a sneak attack through the Fulda Gap moments before the Soviet Empire collapsed. Working in deep cover, she had also infiltrated the Kremlin and got on intimate terms with many members of the current government. We are counting on her connections to keep us alive.
Strike. This is Nick Arnold. I've been taken prisoner with several other agents. They're having some not-so-nice Q&A sessions and using the firing squad like it's a St. Valentine's Day massacre. Now get us out quick! Or give us a Viking funeral.
These are the Easter eggs on this treasure hunt. Bring them to a landing zone safe and sound. They're fragile and valuable. Here's the bonus prize. Once at our LZ, the Easter Bunny will automatically monitor and repair your armor while the eggs unload. This is your fuel. Winch it up and the Apache does the rest. Think of it as prepackaged plasma. Don't spill it. Ammo, our stuff, the good stuff. We Sikorsky'd it in. Winch it up and let it rock. Pops in quick when the job needs to get done. This is an LZ. Treat it like your mother's house. If you find enemy quick ladders, you'll slide your POWs in and out pronto. This is the ultimate surgical weapon, and we're the only kid on the block who has one. It's an auto-loading, passenger hauling, self-repairing wonder. And for faster pickup service, you could even increase your winch speed by snagging a hidden quick ladder. Faster winching the dudes and supplies mean less time as a sitting duck. Nick Arnold. He was the best rotor-head Strike had until you came along. Now you do the piloting, and he does the groundwork. Mr. Arnold has also developed a nasty habit of getting captured. Seems you're gonna make a career out of bailing him out. Once you leave our safe house, you're flying solo, Commander. Although, Nick should be able to get a little commando action going on the ground.
These overrun local forces are the good guys. Don't let them become the dead guys.
Get them to a landing zone, and your Apache can auto-analyze and repair its armor damage while they unload. Treat this stuff like gold. It's the only thing between you and Davy Jones' locker, and it gets pretty scarce in the southern end of the operations area. Ammo is our friend, Chief. You could even use Soviet Brand X if you're in a pinch, but it does not come with a money-back guarantee.
This is one of your LZs, Commander. It is not well defended. Don't let the enemy follow you home.
This is the real deal. A Super Apache, the nastiest weapon in the whole arsenal of democracy. A predator on the attack and lethal on defense. All you need is the skill to kill.
Arnold's like an old riverboat card shark. You can never tell what's going on behind those eyes. He's gambled with death so many times that he's got a regular seat at his poker table. One day he's not going to beat the odds. Just make sure you don't go down with him. It would be a devastating blow to this organization.
If I told you we had this mission all planned out, you would probably know I was lying. We making this one up as we go. Just tune in on the intel and we'll get you home for dinner. Some clerk accidentally shipped our armor crates to the third world. Problem is, they don't have any use for them, so they've been taking up space in the bazaar. Cruise in there and haggle a winch discount. The Super Apache is equipped with an onboard distillery for local petrol. Plays havoc with the engine, but if you're desperate, this thing will probably run on lighter fluid. If you desperately need some ammo, you can always borrow it. Be careful though. The local homebrew doesn't pack the wallop of ex-Soviet stuff, but it will do in a pinch.
Deploy Ahmad's relatives to drop points and their loyal troops will soon follow. The skill is in getting the right relative to the right place. They have a 2 millennia-old family feud going on. If the wrong relatives cross paths, they'll fight each other instead of Savak.
We didn't design the Super Apache for tank transport, but you can do it if you want to move friendlies around. Just fly up and hoist. Don't try this at home, kids.
Ahmad is an ex-SAS commando who's been on a lot of missions for us. This is the first time we've cut him loose on his own home turf. He's related to a number of people here, including Savak. Therefore, you can assume he harbors a strong personal agenda. Let's hope it's the same as ours.
To understand what is happening here, you must understand the history of my family. We have been at war since time began. Our lives would be nothing without war. We fight to live, we live to fight. Sometimes we die. Part of our problem is location. Our mountains are in path of every invader who wants to cross from south to north. Therefore, when invaders come, we have choice, to fight or submit. And that choice is not a choice. This is my sister Delilah. Like the female fox, she is the most vicious of all my relatives. That is why my evil uncle Savak fears her the most. My other uncle Nimrod fears her too, for he once tried to marry her. She was so disgusted that she swore to kill him if she ever saw him again. You may believe this threat or not, but believe me, Uncle Nimrod does. Uncle Nimrod is what you in America would call playboy. Never is he seen without a beautiful woman clinging to his arm. In war, Uncle Nimrod's passion is not matched by his skill. But he has good tanks and troops who share his lust for glory. Nimrod is vain and arrogant. His costume is of his own making. For these reasons, we know him as Strutting Rooster. Nimrod fears Delilah and he hates my cousin Bessus. Because Bessus once took a woman from him. He had challenged Bessus to a duel, but Bessus rejects him. If he sees Bessus, he will kill him. I have little to say about Bessus, because Bessus himself says little. He is a quiet man who has settled down to become a simple farmer. We laugh at this. Who would farm when there are men to be killed? We call him the grain stalk. He calls us nothing. He simply tends his crops.
Commander, keep an eye out for friendlies to rescue. We'll get political points for saving the meltdown victims, and it'll look great on the evening news.
When I said the Super Apache would run on anything, I meant it. If you get desperate, you can even siphon up on radioactive sludge. It'll give you a wild ride. I got intel that they're hoarding ammo in the civilian houses. Blast that wheel. You won't get much negative press coverage in the radioactive zone. Hot flash, Commander. Keep an eye on the enemy airfield. Suspect ZSUs in hangars.
Commencing airdrop of your laser designator at the conclusion of Mission 4. Eyes out for the Blackhawks package. It won't survive for long, so move fast and follow the battle plan.
Hey, I got a real cool goodie for you if you can find it. Now, rumor has it that the Ruskies were experimenting with an anti-tank railgun in this area. If you find it, winch it up. Should be a blast.
Ivan should be dead after the radiation hit he took. It does not come as a surprise that he has a serious preoccupation with death.
He really is a major medical mess. He's been down a long time, but hasn't finished the job. Might be that Ukrainian is giving him an experimental treatment that actually worked.
The important thing is that Ivan is now dedicated to enforcing his own New World Order, to make sure that what happened to him won't happen to anybody else. These UN guys are handpicked from the best armies of the world. Problem is, politicians never let them show what they can do. If you count on them to win your ground battle, Commander, you're gonna end up in a body bag. Best weapon you have is greed. Secure any local loot and deploy it as bait. Dropped outside prisons, it'll lure guards from their posts. It's the oldest hunting trick in the world. Worked in the Stone Age, works now.
This baby could run on radioactive sludge. Imagine the mileage you'll get off the local firewater. If you see anything remotely usable, from vodka to rubbing alcohol, slurp it up. They're not on the hit list, but there are 2 armories inside the Kremlin proper, and that means ammo. Use it if you can. We're gonna have a lot of trouble resupplying you. Bad news, Commander. Both of your LZs are teaming with ex-KGB and mob vermin. Pest eradication will be necessary before you can land there in comfort. According to the hacked military files, it looks like the KGB built a beta version of our quick letter.
Many such things happen during Imperial death throes. If such device exists, it will be in Factory District.
Ivan grew up here. He knows this city better than you know your own apartment. Drain his head, drive everything he knows. Just point and listen.
We're low on local intel, so you're gonna have to find your own. The Russian mafia speaks the international language. Cash. Try to buy their services. Secure valuables and deploy them to a location where they will encourage a feeding frenzy. When in mobland, do as the mobsters do.
Ex-Soviet AAA. This stuff sucks. Only good for fireworks shows over Baghdad. The taxpayers gonna be pissed off if you waste a missile on them. These are the enemy's forward fielders. Knock him out and he's fighting blind. Just boink the turret if you're low on rockets. This is the enemy's all-purpose delivery vehicle, codenamed BIMP. Pop it when it's loaded with troops. Saves a lot of trouble later on. They call this thing Zeus because it fights like the wrath of God. Do unto it before it does unto you. And he who fires first wins. The arrows saying are at fate. These things are our lab. Hunting them is like stomping cockroaches on a roller rink. See if you can flatten them in a single burst. Garden variety truck. Look before you shoot. Sometimes they got free guns and butterfoot. Then again, sometimes they got AAA. This thing is slow and dumb. Even dumb if there isn't radar around. It fires 4 missiles at once, and with 4 tries, even this turkey can't miss. So don't waltz in front of it, woof it from behind. If these things was alive, they'd be guard dogs. Slip them a lead biscuit, and they'll quit barking at you. Man, this reminds me of a big egg carton. Crush the outside, and you get an omelet inside. A scrambled omelet. Let's see if you can nail these things without hitting the water skill behind them. These toy boats are fun to blast, but they have a nasty habit of biting back. Quick tip, Commander. Your best bet is to target these boogers before they lift off. Don't let them hunt you in packs. And if you engage one of them, don't scrimp. Use your best missiles. Man, these hunks of junk should have been turned out to pasture a long time ago. Shoot them and put them out of their misery. If this antique tank was a person, it'd be playing shuffleboard in a retirement home. Nevertheless, approach with caution, Chief. It'd be a big-time embarrassment to be killed by a metal dinosaur. Big, slow pop guns. Taking them out is real simple, at least in theory. Now you get in front of them, and your Apache is a flying coffin. So eradicate these vermin while they looking the other way. I recommend using a hit and split attack, Chief. These puppies grow through missiles like whales grow through plankton. If you can't get to them, nail the ammo truck they got hanging around. You don't have to worry about an empty gun, no matter how big it is. These SAMs are sluggers. and at first they got home field advantage. So wait until they finally stray off their supply base, then 3 shots, and they're out. As with any truck, this one's only good for target practice, but these boys provide a whole fireworks show when they go up. Fun to watch, but not fun for anybody in the orchestra seats. This recon vehicle fires 5 shots with a delay between each missile. Count them on your fingers. After that, it takes the rest of the week to reload. Treat them seriously, because they're much deadlier than their baby brothers.
Missile compares to Legend of Death Dog who guard underworld. It is fast but stupid, and to stand before it is to stare into mouth of death. To kill it, spirit and tail.
The key phrase here is dodge, then destroy. Bake this long-range missile launcher into firing at you from a distance, dodge the shot, then storm in while he's reloading.
We have saying, long range is long life, short range is short life. Let that swing sickle at you from distance, then attack before he can swing again.
Heads up, Commander. Ukrainian might have some T-80s hidden in his hip pocket. They are not to be taken lightly.
What a beautiful war machine, a work of art. In a way, it is a crime to defile it, but defile it we must.
I'm picking up radar hits. Can't pinpoint the source, not with all that radiation around. But trust me on this, it's local and mobile, and sooner or later it's gonna unmask. Probably shielding the tank formation.
The all-seeing eyes of death, like a Theseus. You must blind the monster if you are to defeat him.
He's right. These boys are a moving alert zone. Take them out before full engagement. We think some of these rocket launchers are lurking around here. If you run into them, repeat after me. 5, 4. 5 seconds, then a salvo. 4 salvos, then a reload.
I know these weapons. So did my dead grandfather. He can fire 4 deadly salvos, then it must reload. You must wait for it to feed or destroy it while it sleeps.
Some good old KGB crook unloaded a hot crate of BA-20s on the Ruski mob.
Those things belong in a museum, not on a battlefield. What the hell can they use them for?
Like a baby armor truck, when you see one, there's probably loot inside. It's a poor man's anti-aircraft platform. You hit it, you kill it. If this was all you had to worry about, life would be boring. Don't worry about the hit. It rolled off the assembly line while you was still in diaper. Problem is, the guy's inside. Now duck the cover fire, then perforate the troops before they hit the curb. This thing's a match for your chopper, Captain. Pilot performance is the only difference.
Their tactics are simple and nasty. When you jink away from their rockets, they'll whack you with stingers.
Patience counts. Hug tall buildings to avoid their rockets, then wade in and cry havoc.
Thank you for the rescue, Commander. Mivan Radev, soldier of the world. Ignore my handsome face. I'm a good soldier underneath. Don't worry. We'll find your friend Nick and bring death to his jailers.
Don't worry about me, partner. I'm the shit. I just found me a really cool motorized sled. Oh, see, we got a radio, wire walls, anti-tank launchers, all the extras. Wanna do me a little groundwork? I'll catch up with you later. Strike! This is Nick Arnold. I can transmit, but I cannot receive. I'm being held in some torture chamber from a grade B horror flick. Make that grade C.
Hey, Commander, best idea with this stuff is to come between it and its AAA. That way, if they want to shoot you, they risk nailing their own guys.
Compromise the buildings, but be careful around the prisoners. Think of it as cracking open the egg without smashing the yolk. If you studied your history, you'd know what Napoleon did at Austerlitz. Do the same thing. Shatter the ice, and the choppers will take care of themselves. Commander, the concept is to free the hostages, not kill them. Keep your shots clean and clear. Do not use excessive force. Treat their command car like a soda can. Shake it up, pop the top, and watch the contents come squirting out.
I ain't got no intel on the tourist training camp, but I'm looking hard. And when the news break out, I'ma break in.
Careful, Commander. The southern edge of the camp appears to be a firing range. Don't give them live target practice.
The villa is emitting enough radio waves to start a new network, but the target is not yet confirmed. Please await the green light to commence attack.
We believe Shadow Man is about to transmit from the villa. Get to your position, then drop Nick off with backpack explosives and vape the place. The vultures will sort out the remains.
Easiest way to poke out their electronic eye is to attack from the direction they're not looking.
Interdiction mission, Commander. Disrupt hostiles by destroying 3 convoys and 3 cargo ships. Hit the rear areas for insurance.
Be sure to nail the pilots they're taking to Kiev, so you won't have to fight them in the air where they're really dangerous.
Mission is straightforward. Neutralize picket radars to give you a clear run at the Kiev. Objective is to take down their radar mast. You need not destroy entire vessels. Downed pilots will have explored the Kiev. They could reveal a weak point.
If you splash any rotor boys, rescue them. They know that Vlad wouldn't. Gratitude loosens a lot of tongues.
We're in a critical phase, Commander. Enemy must be deprived of this nuclear threat. Hoist the ICBMs up and release them into the ocean. Our SEAL teams will recover them.
Oh yeah, and Chief, don't even consider shooting the nukes.
We need to slow the enemy advance, Commander. To accomplish this, cripple the destroyer and make it a roadblock.
Tactical advice. You gotta pick this sucker apart. Come in slewing side to side. Target radar towers to disable alert zones, then take out the AAA gun turrets. Drop the anchor last. Oh yeah, don't waste a missile on the ship's hull. You ain't got nothing that'll even bruise it.
Hack, give me sub status.
I got AWACS and J-Stars hunting for the sneaky little buggers.
Commander, if you get a chance, perforate all submarines. We've also airdropped depth charges to assist you. This is priority 1, Commander. Vlad can win this war with just one nuclear sub. Let's not give him the chance. We have airdropped additional depth charges.
I received what I believe was a brief global positioning signal from my mind. It's not triangulated.
I have gallantly boarded missile ship Karra. Will report.
What about the location of Vlad?
Still looking.
Our boy Ahmad sure picked the prize-winning location. The Kara is loaded with autocannon Gatling guns and SAMs. I suggest a hit and run, Commander.
I am near the bridge of Barbarian flagship. The murderer Vlad is aboard. Burn it, and the world is a better place. I have found life raft canister to avoid martyrdom.
Initiate your attack, avoiding Ahmad's life raft.
Yeah, and watch out for the big sandbox missiles as you finish off the bridge. Hot flash. Intel suggests Vlad captured mothball landing craft. We'll locate.
If you spot him, Commander, kill him. We think these vessels contain entire armored units.
Take a heads up at what Ahmad just loaded on StrikeNet.
Terrible news. Vlad plans surprise invasion using landing craft. They will hit southern end of the bay.
If those tanks establish a beachhead, it'll spark a regional war. Commander, don't let it happen on my watch. The first order of business is to slow the immediate threat. Buy time to think and react. Destroy their mobile supplies to bog down the large formations, then squeeze them through the terrain single file. Finally, use the locals to tag team them in the passes. Destroy the personnel carriers in successive phases. Target the anti-aircraft first to disable the immediate enemy threat. Then rake APC formations with chain gun fire to slow and weaken vehicles for the local defenders to finish off. Hit supply vehicles at every opportunity. Attacking an armored formation from the front is suicidal, so come in from behind. Disable their AA support before engaging the tank's main guns. Whatever you do, do not get downrange of this ordnance.
The general's putting him out. Those rockets will chew you up and spit you out like a big metal loogie.
Cut their rate of fire by taking out all ammo trucks before engaging the launch vehicles. This is Savak's recon. Low priority threat. Waste minimal time and ammo on them until the primary threat is neutralized. Then your chain gun will shred their thin skins like tin foil. It's nearly impossible to nail Savak while he's protected by his elite guard. Wait until he gets cocky late in the battle and sends them out for the killing blow. When they roar away, he'll be vulnerable.
Don't pop Savak right away. And when you do, first take out the guard's ammo trucks. No ammo, no reload. Always knock them off from behind. So any remaining AA missiles can't be used against you.
If you need to slow down the elite guard's advance, feign an attack on Savak to draw him back. When it's time to wrap this thing up, Commander, take Savak out in style. I recommend Strike's own version of Scorched Earth to ensure no dictator ever tries this again. We don't know precisely where in the building Ivan Urelia and his compatriots are locked up, but we do know that they are guarded by poorly motivated troops. Locate the headquarters, disable their radar, and shell the place. And you should be able to persuade somebody to tell you. Once you've dropped Urelia's scientists into the salt mines, it'll take them a while to prep. Don't wait around. Every minute you take is another minute for Ukrainian to put his troops on alert. Checklist. 1. Take out the power station, disable the alert zone, and hobble the SAMs. 2. Be careful not to bump the reactor housing. 3. Extract Ivan before you hook the core.
Quick word of advice, Commander. Those patches are ramped to the max with radiation. Fly over them and they'll munch your armor like tortilla chips. Avoid the center of the valley.
We're airlifting in the laser designator now. Watch for Hines and ZSUs lurking around the drop zone. Approach from southeast and nail the radar truck near the tree-lined river first. Good zone prep, Commander. The airfield has been exercised for a safe approach by the Blackhawk. We do not expect the drop zone to remain secure. Be alert for enemy reinforcements. We've got a potential political nightmare. And I hate political nightmares. We must keep UN peacekeeper casualties within an acceptable range. Deploy Armad to stage fighting retreat, monitor, and extract when the situation is no longer viable.
Intel. Villa's two forces, codenamed Vampire and Zombie, are not likely to show discipline in the hot zone.
Knock out bridges to set them on a collision course with Ukrainians' forces.
Massive self-inflicted casualties are projected to ensue in a chaotic frenzy. This is gonna be a monster mash. You're in the land of the living dead. This zone is laced with tripwires to activate hidden tanks and scuds. If you open the coffin, you better stake what rises up.
Circle behind them and blind their radar before prosecuting your attack.
Scuds belch smoke before they launch. When you see them smoking, get stoking, Commander. Monitor your bio-Geiger lens, Chief. Your nuke vision should detect if friendly forces are being cooked. The longer they're in the fire, the more they'll fry.
Bottom line, if you see UN troops begin to glow, evacuate them immediately.
The Black Widow is now entering the battle. We believe she will drive toward the graveyard to the north to flank Ukrainian.
Best intel indicates that she is driving an extremely well-armored black T-80 with a red turret. Don't get bit, Commander.
While you're bug hunting, do dispatch her elite guard, codenamed the Tarantulas, with extreme prejudice. Commander, the cabinet members will only emerge from hiding if somebody they trust escorts them, and they trust Andrea. Extract her from her present location and redeploy her to the Tolstoy house. Vehicles are packed with high explosives. Your mission is to stop them without igniting their payload. Precision target the cab and respect their potential blast range. Choose your point of attack so that incapacitated vehicles do not block bridges. If ex-KGB armored forces penetrate the Kremlin walls, the president dies. If the Russian president dies, the world is at DEFCON 1. Do not let armored forces inside.
Eyes on the skies. Intel suggests elite airborne units are closing on combat area.
Fly escort for Yeltsin's vehicle. Clear the road ahead of him. If he's nailed, it's over.
Bad news, Commander. I just checked the files. Yeltsin hasn't driven a car in 30 years.
Fortunately, that thing is well armored.
I've got Andrea on Riscom. She'll give you a passenger play-by-play. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
I gotta say this for Andrea. I admire her courage. More forces are arriving from the south. I need an ETA for the APCs from the Russian White House, Hack.
Bad news for the commander. Looks like the suckers will arrive before projected takeoff time.
The vehicles must be stopped. Do you read me? Eliminate them at all costs. Bribe the mob to help, if you have to.
Unless you've been living in a tent, you know the mob runs Moscow. The problem is that their leader, Alexei Kaponov, doesn't have the military muscle for a full coup. I suspect a stealth operation in the guise of the Shadow Man.
Commander, capture Kaponov alive. Resist the temptation to do otherwise. We must confirm the Shadow Man's identity. And don't let him fall into the river. His body armor's like a cement overcoat.
If Kaponov isn't the Shadow Man, then he has to come from the remnants of the KGB, probably in the person of their leader Boris Moranovsky.
Moranovsky is a coward. You won't get him away from the building, so you'll have to get the building away from him. Rubble is HQ.
Psychological intel. This boy has a pathological fear of animals.
Commander, you might consider baiting the bear with a bear. Please note that I never issued this order.
By process of elimination, Yuri Vatsisnov must be the Shadow Man.
I don't buy it, but there's nothing else for sale.
I have a confirm on Nick's location. He's with Vatsisnov.
The mission is obvious. Finish off Vatsisnov at Lenin's tomb and winch in Nick.
I'm sorry we won't get to interrogate Vatsisnov.
Not an option, Andrea.
Give it the Russian president. We're in grave danger. He's planning to drive. We're being fired at. Cover us while we try and find a way out. I can't tell whether he's the best driver in the world or the worst. Making a run for the airport. Keep us covered.